You are listening to the ADHD Support Talk Radio podcast. ADHD Support Talk Radio is sponsored by ADDclasses.com. Sign up now for a free webinar by going to www.addclasses.com. And this is your co-host, Tara McGillicuddy, and I am finally back with a new episode. I know it's been quite some time since I recorded a new episode. My co-host, Lynn Idris, has been great at that, but I am back, so happy 2019, and I will be back again with some more new episodes. But today, I am excited to have one of my special guests who actually started this podcast with me over 10 years ago. Actually, we're close to 11 years ago. So welcome back to the show, Linda Hillger.
How nice to be here. Great to hear your voice. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm so glad you've come back and you've agreed to be a guest with me again. And today we are going to be talking about overload and overstimulation when you have ADD or ADHD. But before we begin talking about the topic, Linda, can you let our listeners know a bit about yourself?
Sure, my pleasure. I'm an organizer, a professional organizer, and I specialize in ADD. I've been doing boot camp and teaching. I'm an author of a couple of books on the subject, and I've been teaching the boot camp primarily for ADD boot camp for over 20 years. I think it's the longest running class for adults with ADD on the web. So we're still rolling. It's 2019, which is amazing. And I love your topic. Overload is a fabulous topic for us to be discussing.
Yeah. And can you, before we start talking about that, let's let them know a little bit about the boot camp and when the next one starts, just very briefly. Can you let them know about that?
Sure thing. Boot camp is a really well-known class, and it covers time management, home organizing, finances, personal finances with ADD, and it's a step-by-step class for getting organized in those areas, making it really nice and easy for people with ADD. We do it over the phone, so you never have to leave your house, and we do it by weekly exercises over a few weeks in the class, and then you're done. And to take a look at it or to learn more, could just go to Adult ADD BootCamp.com.
Okay, great. Yeah, I don't like to do a huge promo for stuff, but usually what happens, or what can happen a lot, is we'll get so into the conversation, I'll forget to give out the information about the boot camp or the address. So I just wanted to start it out. All right, so stimulation and overload. I feel kind of overloaded on where to begin with this topic, Linda. Where do you want to begin?
Isn't it so true? Particularly in the winter time. And right now it's the winter. It's January 2019. And, most of the topics that come up now are how to deal with all the Christmas wrapping and all the stuff we have to put away from Christmas that we took out, and wrapping paper and catching up. And so I think most of the world with ADD is overloaded right now. And, it's amazing. And so, but we're lucky. We're indoors right now. A lot of us are in cold climates. I'm in a cold climate, and I'm in the house. So I feel like for most of us, it's a really good time to deal with overload. Don't you think?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. So I'm overloaded. How do we go about dealing with it or getting help for it or even identifying it?
Isn't it amazing that as you look at any space that we have in our house, around this time, particularly since most of us are in the house, around this time, don't you feel like as you walk around the house, you just get bombarded by the piles and the things that you want to get to? Oh, and I hear that.
Yeah, and as we're recording it right now, I didn't even decorate for Christmas. I went to people's other houses. I did very little for Christmas, but I have Amazon boxes that I'm overloaded by, and my dishes and stuff like that. So even if you didn't even celebrate Christmas, I think we're all just in that mode. Maybe it's because of hibernation, because of winter. So yeah, it's as we're recording it, I'm sitting here looking at my mess, and I am overloaded and overstimulated by stuff. So I'm in that frozen state of mind right now too.
So agree with you. Not only that, but it seems like all the I want to get to this stuff has a feeling to it. Like as people walk through their house, it feels like, oh, I have to get to this. Oh, I have to get to this. And how do I get the other stuff I don't care about away, you know?
Yep.
Really becomes, and so it kind of can lock up your head. Like I can't get to the things I want to get to because I'm overloaded with other stuff, like the boxes, the Amazon boxes. Doesn't it feel like that sometimes?
Oh, yeah. I want to get to it, but then I'm overloaded and overstimulated by it. So it's like, okay, it's not even like I think I'll do it later. It's just I think it's an automatic defense mechanism for me. And I'm sure a lot of people listening can deal with that, can relate to that too.
So perfectly said. Yes, right. Just have to leave the room and go to another room, kind of like exhale sometimes. And, you know, I think we've gotten, as we get older, I think sometimes it feels like it's not going to end, you know, like, okay, the cycle's not going to end, so I'm just going to give in. But there are, now we're learning that we can really actually do easy tricks to disengage from overload and just first take a breather. Like sometimes it's better to just exit the space, you know, like go into your bedroom and breathe. Do you feel like that sometimes?
Yeah. Or I don't even have to exit the space. I can just kind of like, you know, do something else in the same room. But sometimes that's helpful if I make that choice to get back to it and actually do something with the stuff that's overwhelming, overloading, and overstimulating me.
Love that. In fact, your boxes might be the biggest gift for Christmas cleanup ever, because those boxes can actually help you sort things out sometimes. So sometimes the boxes can feel like, if they're all in a pile, they can feel like they're overstimulating. But maybe we could do a cheat. Maybe we could cheat and just use them as our friends and maybe sort some things out. Like, for instance, one of the really good shortcuts now that people are doing, we have to move all those toys, all those items we put out for Christmas. We have to move those. So if you have boxes, that might actually be the shortcut. And we could just dump, like, all your Christmas gifts, all the ones you got for you. Or if you have kids, all your Christmas gifts for each kid can go in a box. And it might make the traveling easier to get them into their bedrooms where they're safe and sound, you know?
So my box might be staying out there to help me use them instead of tripping over them or getting upset with them.
Yeah, right. Like, use me. Okay, I'm going to stuff you full of all the wrapping paper and get you out of the house, you know, or put you closer to the door for exit. And those, you know, little teeny movements, even if you have 10 minutes that you can donate to, okay, I'm going to take all these things that are one type of item and just put them away. Get them out of this room, put them into the box, you know, and then breathe. Lots of breathing.
How does somebody just start with that? And I know for myself, if I have somebody else with me, if I'm paying to take a class, if I've committed to somebody else, that alone or those things are helpful to me. But say for whatever reason you're just at home, you don't have somebody else with you, you don't have that added motivation structure, what's going to help somebody who's listening right now just take those few steps, spend 10 minutes or even 30 seconds to just start with to tackle these things that are overwhelming us?
Oh my God, that's such a great question, particularly right now in this winter environment. You know, I love your 30-second rule. In fact, sometimes if I don't feel like I want to start a big round of, you know, I don't want to do a quick clean. I'm not going to put, you know, 20 minutes or 30 minutes into something. I just don't have that energy yet. But I do want to just get beyond the first step. What I'll usually do is actually look. I'll go hunting. I'll look around for just dirty dishes. And all I want to do is group the dirty dishes into one area, or if you have those boxes handy, put them into one box. So at least all the dishes, and sometimes that can be like a race. You can do that like, I'm going to put 30 seconds, and I'm just taking the dirty dishes off my table kind of deal, right? Or trash. Like, especially cold and flu season, that a lot of people are getting colds and flus right now. So you really want to be kind with our energy. So one of those boxes could go toward any paper garbagey, tissues and related items that if you're recovering from a cold, stick them in one holder so that you can remove them nice and fast without letting them pile up too much.
Yep.
You know, because I feel like part of the overload is when to stop letting it get bigger. You know, like I don't want it to get worse. I'm going to just tackle a little teeny piece.
And you used the term, can you talk more about what you mean by grouping?
Sure. In fact, this was like a huge thing from my head years and years ago, about 20 years ago, or maybe 30 now, time flies. When I first started, I didn't know that I didn't know how to group. So in the early years when I wanted to clean a room, I just think I had to clean everything. And I would bounce from pile to pile to pile, really just moving things all over and over and over again. And I didn't know that it was so much easier than that because of grouping. So, for instance, let's pretend we have a big thing of dirty dishes, and then we have an average room of an ADD person, right? So we have dishes, we have paper garbage, we have clothes, and we have notebooks and written items and bills. Let's pretend. Well, when I give you that list, that's actually the name of the group. So a lot of times, once a person with ADD realizes that, it clicks in their head. It clicks. You go, oh, my God, that's a group. So if we move things in a group, like you just mentioned, if you move it in a group, it's just way easier. Like, I'm going to group up all my dishes right now in this room. Just going to group them up so that they're in one spot and my head knows where they are. You ever walk around a room and you just don't even know where to begin? Like that overwhelmed?
Bombarded by everything,
And it always feels to me like it's screaming out, help me, get me done, get me done.
Yeah. All right, so let's go to the dishes. Can you group things? For a lot of people, would it be helpful to group it even more? Like, say you have a sink full of dishes or your sink's overflowed. Would it be helpful to group things into forks, to small dishes, to big bowls or whatever it is? Is that going to help the brain move forward if you group even more when it comes to the dishes itself?
That is one of the best questions I've ever heard of because in a weird way, particularly me, I get super visually overstimulated. It's just my issue. Like everyone has their issue. And dishes used to be a huge hurdle. Even now, I do a really goofy thing, and that is exactly what you just mentioned. I fill a bucket or a big like spaghetti pot with hot water, and I have to ditch all the silverware. I just ditch it. I put it all in there because silverware messes up the whole feeling of what do I do first, you know? So putting them in that pot, getting them all put together, my head goes, okay, you can soak. I don't care about you. I can breathe a little. And then, you're right. Like just taking all of one kind of thing that you think of as less stressful. Some people can deal with cups, but they can't deal with plates. Like they just don't like them, right? So for me, if I do one group and then I go, okay, I might even dry them and put them away before I do the next group, you know, just to like break it up so that I can see that I'm getting the work done. And, right? Does it ever feel like you'll never finish? Like, I'm so overloaded, I'll never finish this thing.
Yes. So why bother? And it's not even like logically why bother. It's like my brain's just shutting down. I can't bother at this time. But you just gave like that strategy, that grouping strategy, which for people listening, I think is going to be life-changing, whether it's your dishes, your bills, the clutter on your bedroom floor. And you gave a great example right now. A lot of people have been sick and just, you know, that your table, your coffee table, wherever you're sick, is full of tissues, cough drops. You know, maybe you group the tissues in the cough drops and whatever else, you know, you start cleaning up one group or dealing with one group at a time. And because my brain, and then one of the strategies we have when it comes to ADHD, which is almost always helpful, is breaking things down, whether it's steps, but we're breaking down the stuff we want to clean up or deal with. So I think that is going to be a life-changing strategy to people because our brains don't naturally think about slowing down and grouping them. We're looking for some crazy creative strategy, and a lot of times going the other way and just simplifying and, looking a bit analytical at things can be a great strategy.
I love the way you make it so workable when you talk about ADD, and I agree with you, by the way. And I never knew that was such a big hurdle for me until I actually started doing it, until I was like, okay, I'm putting my guard down for a minute, and I'm just going to work with this. I'm going to look because we're hunter type kind of in our visual field, we look at everything. Yep. And so to just go, you know what, I'm going to clear the surface of this table. That's it. Yep. I'm just going to clear the surface. My head, after that table is cleared off, my head feels so much calmer. I can catch my breath. It's almost like we're very sensitive to the energy of all the stuff moving that we've done in the last week. It like lingers in a way. It lingers. So to me, it's kind of like erasing on a blackboard. I'm erasing the history of what I did in this room. I'm just going to clear it. And those shortcuts can make such a difference. Or even saying, you know what, I'm going to see what 10 minutes feels like. Because I sometimes feel like I'll never finish. So it makes it's more curious for me to say, what does 10 minutes do? If I just put the trash away for 10 minutes, what will that do for my feeling? How will I feel in 10 minutes? And that opens my head to possibility in a way. Do you feel like that?
Oh, yeah, and just energetically getting started and shifting, moving, one thing, and makes a difference. And yes, I know I feel a lot better. I have more motivation and clearer, more grounded. And sometimes it's just taking that one step, whether it's 10 minutes, 30 seconds, moving one item, grouping, but just putting that energy in. Because I got to tell you, the avoidance that I do, and I know a lot of people listening do that too, does not feel good. It doesn't help. It's more overwhelming. So just taking that one step, just getting started, shifting that energy, it does. It sounds crazy that just doing one little thing can, make you feel so much better, but it does.
Yes, and relieving. It's like and and it's amazing to think. I mean, I'm going back like 30 years now, and now we do boot camp where we do the races. We do like 10 minutes. We're going to just clear out all together, everyone in the class. We're just going to clear out extra paperwork and crappy messes and pile up work into one spot. Like, we know this bills, they're a big deal. Put them in a pile.
Yep.
Or, all of our friends in the world of ADD, how many of us have notes about things all over the house, right? And then I go to try to find my notes and I can't find them.
Yep.
It's exhausting just to find the things I need. So part of that feeling good is going, you know what? I know it's a note and it's in a note pile. So I know where to find it. So my head goes, okay, all right, my life is easier now, just from that one thing. I don't know where my note is. I'm looking for notes. I don't know where it is, but I know that all my notes are in one pile now.
And that's going back to, like, the grouping, a designated area for your notes. And it doesn't have to be, like, this really detailed place. It's just all your notes are in one place, and back to the grouping. And you're one of these, and you've helped thousands of people over the past couple decades do that with the strategies in boot camp and the audio coach and all that. So there's data that these strategies help people.
Oh, yes. And it's amazing to think that this started with my making myself walk from a couch to a sink with a cup of coffee because I never completed anything. So it was ridiculously hard for me to make it across a room without getting sidetracked on something, something I see or a new thought or, oh, I just came across this. Let me get sidetracked and start fixing it, whatever. All of that first section for me was learning, what is a group? Well, how do I group things up? If I make a big pile of these dirty towels, will my head feel better? As opposed to, like, I used to make a big, huge pile of laundry. that I just would never, ever want to see. I'd never want to look at it. And so finally going, you know what? I'm only doing towels. I'm going to throw them in, and when they're dry, I'm going to fold them. And they're all towels. That, my head said, whoa, I can handle that. I can wrap myself around that. So I think that just having that as a goal, to make one group or one pile and get it out of your space and clear up maybe the place you're sitting at. Maybe make that your solemn spot where, like, you're just going to reach around, not even get up, just reach around and pick up all the trash and throw it away. Those little moments help so much. By the end of, when we think of a day, by the end of one day, what impact that little, as you're walking, put the trash away. Or if you're going to the bathroom, bring a roll of toilet paper. And so that way we could do it as we're living. We don't have to stop living to clean. We can just do it as we move, So because most of us have low energy right now, but we're going to building our energy up because we're heading into, now it's January. We're going to be, February is the beginning of sun coming out. It's the beginning of, oh, wow, I have like a few weeks. And then we're going to be in March, and the sun's going to be up higher, and we're going to see the very sprinkling of spring where those flowers start coming up. So even though in our world right now it's January, really slowly but surely the sun is creeping in, and the snow is going to be melting. So any small little improvement we put into the day, even one little movement a day, adds up over time. And then we're going to be in spring. So we have a lot to look forward to. And we might be overwhelmed right now, but we're going to be opening windows soon. That's a great thing.
It is. All right, Linda, believe it or not, we are actually towards the end of today's episode. Do you have any final thoughts that you'd like to share with people before we end today's show? And you know what? I'm putting it out there. I'm going to have you back on here on more of a regular basis. I don't think you've been on in 2 years, believe it or not, almost 2 years.
Oh, my God.
That's one of the things I'm putting out there because you have such great stuff. People, are really helped by these episodes when you come on them and by your boot camp and all the other contributions to the ADD world.
Yay. I love that.
So what are your final thoughts, Linda?
My final thought is that actually for ADD, it's amazing how much having a cleared off low stimulus space to live in helps us. It helps our mind. It helps the genius behind the scenes that's always thinking and creating ideas. It helps give space for that. So I hope that anyone listening to this considers taking a class or learning how to do a quick clean just to make life easier by grouping, by putting it in a smart spot, by learning systems that make things fast. Because that's what we do. And that's for ADD, what could be easier? That we always want the easiest, fastest answer to our overwhelm. That's what we do. So, and I think there's a class coming up in February, right? We have a class for go ahead.
Yeah, the next ADD BootCamp begins on February. Let me look. I don't know if it's February 6th. For some reason, I wanted to say February 4th. February 6th. So go to Adult ADD BootCamp.com to learn more about that.
And that happens at noon Eastern Standard Time, right? So we're doing a daytime boot camp, which I find to be better energy anyway. I mean, I think it's just much more fun to do it in the daytime with a group because it's a big group that take the class. So you get to do it with everybody and hear real feedback from people as they go through. That to me is a really big deal. I like that.
Yeah. But if for whatever reason you can't make it in the daytime, you have the recordings and the information's all there. So those who can be there live at noon, it's going to be different energy, great energy. But if for whatever reason you can't, you have the recordings and you can listen to them at your convenience. So anything else left to say before we end today's episode, Linda?
Anything, any little thing you do, and your descriptions, by the way, of boxes and any stimulation like laundry or dishes, anything you clear away as you live, as you go around about your day, will make you tomorrow easier. So our goal is always tomorrow's going to be better because of what I'm doing right now. And make it inch by inch. It gets better and better and better, and then we're in spring. So thank you so much.
Yeah, and I've been inspired or motivated, I don't know which is the right term, to go and group my dishes after we hang up and take some action. So I challenge the rest of you listening to take action after listening to today's episode. Thanks again, Linda, and thank you everyone for listening to ADHD Support Talk Radio.